We will begin with Mr. Longoria.
Thank you. Hi, good evening. My name is Felipe Longoria. I'd like to thank the Chamber for getting my name right on this one. I appreciate all of you that are still here this evening. I know it's getting late, and let me share. As a 20-year resident of Whittier, and I know we were joking about that earlier, everybody shares how long they've lived in the city, I decided to run in this last campaign because I'd like to make a difference. I want to work for all of Whittier, not just District 4. I'd like to work with the council, the chamber, the small businesses, the residents, the people, the children, the future. I believe that as a community, we can come together, we can do great things. I believe that when I win, I can definitely make everybody who's in District 4 proud. I definitely believe that with what we have and what this beautiful city offers, there's so much more we can do. We're just getting started. I don't want to be up here slamming everybody and making, false claims and saying that things aren't getting done. We have challenges. There's no doubt about that. But I do believe that if we all come together, that we all work as a community, we will definitely get to where we want to go. So if I could have your vote on April 14th, I would very much be proud to represent you. Thank you, and we'll see how it goes. Sir?
Thank you. Next, we'll move on to Aida Macedo.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you for the Chamber for organizing this. I know it's a lot of work. My name is Aida, candidate for District 4. I'm a proud member of the Chamber of Commerce, a business owner. I own my own law firm in Uptown Whittier. And I'm a mother and a wife and have a real investment in the present and the future of Whittier. My top issues are representative government, so making sure that residents actually have a voice on council and that your needs are being addressed in a timely manner. Secondly, public safety is a big issue in the city. I know we don't talk about it enough, but a lot of residents that I've talked to have faced serious issues in the neighborhood. So I hope to bring some plans toward that. My third top issue is smart growth. How are we growing the city so that it aligns with what residents actually want and bring development that aligns with our values here in Whittier? We've seen a lot of development coming in that doesn't really align with how we want to see the city grow, and I hope to bring a voice to those efforts. I grew up in Southeast LA. I was raised by a single mom. She's right here, my mother, Aida Flores. And raised by two older brothers who sacrificed a lot for me to be the first in my family to go to college. I graduated from Cerritos College with my AA. I got my BA at UC Irvine, and I went to law school at UC Davis. So I've worked for other cities in the past. I have experience. I used to be a chief of staff for a council member in the Central Valley. I have a lot of heart for city work, but mostly I'm here as a mom to represent the district and to represent residents' voices. And I would hope and I would love to earn your vote by April 14th. Thank you.
Thank you. I have the mic.
Let's turn them on next to it.
Okay, so thank you everyone for being here this evening. The Chamber, of course, I know how much work it takes to put one of these events on, and we have such a dedicated Chamber in this city. It's incredible. I want to thank my family and my friends for being here today, my neighbors as well. It's a real pride to know that your family and my son specifically is here this evening, and that your neighbors and your friends are here as well to see what you have planned for the city. So, since everybody's talking about how long they've been in the city, my wife and I have been here for 36 years. We've raised all three of our kids here, and I'm a proud father of a Whittier poet right there. Went to Whittier College, and we loved supporting the city. We did so by investing in Whittier College. Thank you very much. Today I stand before you with a vision for a better future. The future with safety, prosperity, and progress are the cornerstones of our community. To achieve this vision, we must focus on supporting our police force, driving economic development, and investing in our infrastructure. Maintaining our high standard of living through consistency in governmental policy, I should say, that support safety, economic development, and also afford the best safety standards, parks, infrastructure, and education. I've been very fortunate to have been endorsed by the Whittier Police Department, as well as the local fire 1014, I should say, the firefighters, as well as 5 other unions because of all of the work that I've been able to manage to support throughout LA County. As your city council member, I was appointed to the Gateway Cities Council of Governments, where I created the Land Development Trust, which builds affordable housing. And as your Metro Board member, I've created policies that provide free buses and transportation for kids K through 12 and junior college as well. And if you don't believe that, you can look that up. So I'm here because I want to do this, continue doing the work that I've done for the city of Whittier, and I hope you'll re-elect me. Thank you.
So we'll go ahead and begin with our 3 chamber-generated questions, and we'll start with Ms. Macedo for the first question. What motivates you to run for office, and what are your top 3 priorities if elected?
So I think what really has motivated me to run for office is frustration. I take my son to Michigan Park. I called the city about an issue with the park. There was a bolt issue. The repair was not happening, and I got impatient, so I called the city. I emailed my council member, and I kind of got the runaround. And I thought, why are we outsourcing the repairs to the park? That doesn't make sense to me when we have a parks department. And so that's kind of how I started getting involved with the city, and I started realizing how things have been run in the city, and I decided to get involved. I have a lot of heart for the community. My mother raised me to care about my neighbors, to look out for one another, to really be of service. And I've done that throughout my career. I've represented indigent clients, I've worked in community service organizations and nonprofits, and I bring that heart to the local community because I care about the future of Whittier. I'm raising my son here, and any mother in the room will tell you you'll do anything for your kid. So this is really an ode to him and to my husband. My top 3 issues, as I have stated earlier, are representative government, making sure that you have a voice on city council, that the residents' voices actually are coming into city hall. Secondly, public safety, making sure that we're addressing crime in the city. There have been a series of serious crimes in the community, including in District 4. Just about a month ago, there was a shooting. Some of my supporters called and talked to me about that issue. Third, development in the city. I care about the future of Whittier, and I do think that we need to hold the line with some of the development that is happening that is not aligned with what residents actually want. Thank you.
Sure, thank you. So what drives me to run for re-election here is how much I love this city, and everybody says that. But I've spent 26 years volunteering for the city. I first started out as a design review board member. I spent 6 years there. I spent 7 years in the planning commission, where we approved some amazing projects, including the Groves, where a lot of us go there for restaurants and shopping, what have you, as well as the Whitwood Shopping Center remodel. So I've done a lot of work here, and then of course I've been fortunate to be your city council member for the last 14 years. What drives me is creating amazing policy that keeps the city, a city that we all want to live in. By the way, we all have choices. We don't have to live here. A lot of us can move out of here, but we do so because we love the city. We love the city because A, it's well run, B, we have a great police force, we have great shopping. Can we do things a little better? Of course we can. There's always ways of doing things a little bit better. But I think you need council members, you need representatives that have a stakeholder in the city here, someone that has experience, people that have laid down roots. Not only that, as a business owner myself, I started my company 20 years ago. Before that, I ran 2 big publicly owned companies, built thousands of homes throughout the entire United States, and I brought that same level of professionalism and understanding about good development to our city. On our city council, when there are issues relative to development and problematic situations occur, I'm typically the one that they go to because of my background and my experience. I think experience counts. And so I hope to bring that experience and maintain that experience in the city of Whittier as long as you'll re-elect me. Thank you.
Mr. Longoria.
Thank you. I am motivated by a deep belief that local leadership matters. The decisions made at City Hall directly impact public safety, small business vitality, housing affordability, infrastructure investment, and the quality of life in our parks and neighborhoods. District 4 deserves representation that is accessible, accountable, and willing to engage directly with the residents and the business owners to solve problems. I have seen firsthand how community involvement creates real change. Through nonprofit leadership, volunteer service, and collaboration with local organizations, I have worked to support youth programs, community initiatives, and civic engagement. Those experiences have reinforced my belief that effective leadership requires listening first, building consensus, and making decisions grounded in both fiscal responsibility and community values. I am running because I want to protect what makes Whittier special while preparing it for the future. Service is not about titles. It is about responsibility. I am motivated to step forward because I care deeply about the direction of our city and believe District 4 deserves steady, principled leadership. One community, one voice. The three things that I think most need to be worked on are the homeless challenges. We need to take a firm but fair and compassionate stance. The way we've been dealing with it up to this point isn't working. I believe that traffic is an ongoing issue, especially in District 4 on Whittier Boulevard. Something as simple as syncing all of the lights can make things better for all of us. And third, and not the least important, but very challenging for all the people I've spoken to, is more support for the small businesses. I think we need to do a better job, and I think we need to really, really focus on them and make sure that we can help them thrive. Thank you.
Now we're going to move on to our second question of the evening. We're going to start with Fernando Dutra for this one. So, how can the city address homelessness while supporting local businesses? And what metrics will you use to track results?
Great question. So, as you know, the city of Whittier was one of the first few cities to establish our own navigation center. That's how we dealt with homelessness. Because by establishing our own navigation center, by the way, which is what all of us contribute to through our taxes, which is $3 million a year, we have found a compassionate way of dealing with our homelessness. If you're homeless in the city of Whittier, we have a bed for you right here in the city of Whittier in our homeless center. That's one of the ways that we can continue doing is continue supporting our homeless navigation center, as well as making sure that our streets are clean, our businesses are engaged in making sure that the city is run well, and they do so by coming to our city council meetings. But I also think it's important that making sure that we maintain our streets, our infrastructure well, that's really what keeps people flowing through the city of Whittier. By the way, I should say that I voted on and actually started the process to gain the city of Whittier's Boulevard back. So I always felt that Whittier should own our own boulevard, right? The city of Whittier should own Whittier Boulevard. So 10 years ago, I started the process to gain Whittier Boulevard back into the city. By doing so, we were also given a check by Caltrans for $16 million. We can take that money, we can use that money towards establishing and assisting businesses along Whittier Boulevard that come into tough times. I think it's also important that before you allow business to go and have a hard time, that you do preventative maintenance on that business, right? Meet with them initially, ask them what are the issues they're dealing with before it becomes a problem. There's also a thing that I've done in the past. When I was a developer in San Diego, we established the incubator system in downtown San Diego, which we brought businesses in. We established it. We helped them fund certain startup businesses down in San Diego. We could do the same thing here because I've done it and I know how to make it happen. So, thank you.
Thank you. Yes. How can the city address homelessness while supporting local businesses, and what metrics will you use to track results?
Okay, there it's back, thank you. So addressing homelessness in Whittier requires compassion, but it also requires accountability. We must continue to connect individuals to real solutions through coordinated outreach with enterprises like LA County's LA HOP system, the Whittier Navigation Center operated by the Salvation Army, providing 139 shelter beds and wraparound services. And local partners like the Whittier Area First Daily Coalition, offering advocacy and transportation support. These resources exist and we must use them effectively. However, services must be paired with clear expectations. Our parks, trails, and business corridors cannot become permanent encampments. Public spaces belong to the residents and families of Whittier. Those who are willing to accept help should receive it immediately. Those who refuse services repeatedly, we need to face, or at least try to do more appropriate enforcement. We can be compassionate without compromising public safety. The goal is straightforward. Move people towards stability while restoring and protecting our public spaces for the entire community. As far as how to generate new business and build investment in Whittier, California, if we truly want to do that, we need to make it clear that the city is open, efficient, and ready for growth. Investment follows confidence. That means faster permitting, predictable timelines, competitive fees, and a city hall that sees business owners as partners, not obstacles. As one of my co-runners up here said, the city needs to get out of the way. We need to allow businesses to grow, to thrive, to be able to process quicker. And I believe that by streamlining a lot of that, we can definitely make a difference and watch it grow quicker. Thank you.
Aida Macedo?
Yes. I believe public safety and economic vitality go hand in hand. And I also believe that we need to get at the crux of the issue with homelessness. It's not a one-size-fits-all type of issue to solve. We have to try different things. So, supporting local businesses is one way to address the homelessness problem. We do have some resources already allocated to the homelessness issue, but there was also Measure W that was passed by voters. Where is that money going? I went to the website, there is a nice pie chart, but no details in terms of how much has been spent, how much is coming in, what is left over. What can we do with that money? Like create, economic development programs or, actually have an economic development plan. I've talked to residents who say, I really would love to go to Uptown, but I don't feel safe. I don't want to park there. I really like this restaurant, but I don't like going there at night. I don't feel safe. So those two issues are intertwined. It's the same problem. We need to address it in different ways, in creative ways, and we need to bring the community out because the community has a lot of ideas. And unfortunately, a lot of our community has been disenfranchised. I've talked to voters who have said, or residents who have said, oh, I went to City Hall, I tried to talk about an idea I had, and I was shut down. I had a resident who said she had this idea to paint utility boxes with art, right? And she said, I think that would make the city look beautiful, people would feel more welcomed, and she was shut down by our administration, saying, okay, well, when you become mayor, you can do that. That's not a way to respond to residents. That's not a way to bring people into City Hall. I think we need to be innovative. We need to work hard. We need to do the work. We need to try different solutions. And that requires fresh leadership. Thank you.
We're going to start with you, Mr. Longoria, for this one. So how will you collaborate with legislators, regional partners, and organizations in Whittier to strengthen the local economy?
Here, back up. There it is. Can you repeat the question one more time, please?
Sure. How will you collaborate with legislators, regional partners, and organizations in Whittier to strengthen the local economy?
So our local economy, in my opinion, has its challenges. The biggest one being, I don't think enough people know everything that we have in this amazing city. I think that we do need to work with the legislators, but when working with the legislators, you work with the local government, there's going to be limits to what can be done. I think that entrepreneurs and the free market a lot of times can grow themselves, but what we need to do here within the city is do a better job of letting the people know what we have here. And I'm just as guilty of it. As I was walking door to door the other day, somebody asked, why do we have no national chains here within the city? I had to stop and pause for a second and think about some of the ones that we do have. The Chili's, the Red Robin, the Black Angus, some of the other names. The fact that, yes, there's been challenges and closures at some of our centers, but I think ultimately at the end of the day, that as people have become to rely so heavily on digital social media, we forget. And I think that if we would do a twofold program and get back to what Costco and Sam's do. As big as they are, the monster organizations they are, they mail a brochure, a catalog every month to remind you that they're there. I think the city needs to do a better job of reminding the residents of who's out there, what's out there, so that we can also get back to the shop local, keep the dollars here, and help the businesses grow. Thank you.
Thank you. I do believe that we need to collaborate with state legislators, federal legislators, and other cities in the area. There are resources out there. There are different grant programs. There's the Small Business Administration. There are different ways that we can collaborate to bring some grant funding into the city. I was endorsed by our local congresswoman. I believe that I can really work closely with a lot of our legislators to bring some of those programs into Whittier. The truth is that our businesses are struggling. Today when I had lunch in Uptown, the owner of a restaurant was telling me that he's on the verge of quitting because he can't sustain his restaurant. He doesn't have any help. The new restaurants and new businesses popping up are great, but we can't forget about our 30-year restaurants, our existing folks that have been here, have made a real investment. And so we need to create programs. We need to have maybe a program where we help revitalize storefronts, maybe a grant program where we get people the help they need to make payroll. I own a business and I own a law firm, and a lot of people think, oh, well, you own a law firm, that's easy. Well, it's not. There's a lot of licenses, there's a lot of fees, there's a lot of overhead, there's a lot of insurance, and a lot of times we don't have that information. I don't come from money. I don't have a business background. Yes, I went to law school. Nobody in my family has ever owned a business. I've had to figure things out myself. And guess what? A lot of businesses don't make it. And so I think that we need to be innovative. We need to be creative. We need to bring the business owners in. When the chamber has the events, we do a roundtable to get ideas from them. Who better than business owners that need our help know what programs we need to have? I think it's all related. The blight that you see in Uptown, it has to do with a lot of factors, and one of them is property owner and rents going up. Thank you.
Thank you, and I'm proud to say that I have been working with local legislators over the past 14 years. As a matter of fact, when I was appointed to the Gateway Council of Governments, one of the first things I started working on was getting free broadband for the city of Whittier. And I'm happy to say that we are now bringing free broadband into the city of Whittier. Do you think that's going to help out homeowners that need broadband? Of course it is. Do you think it's going to help out some of our businesses? Of course it is. I'm happy to say that I've been able to work with local legislators to make that happen, as well as at Metro, as a Metro board chair, I'm happy to say that we brought in money to support the circuit. You know that little car that runs around here, the electrical car that runs around here, and that everybody seems to love. As a matter of fact, we're getting amazing information about it. People love taking our circuit. Well, as Metro board member, I was able to bring the funding to make that happen. So I'm always thinking about creative ways of making our city better. As a small business owner, and by the way, as an immigrant, I started out with nothing as well. My family and I moved to the United States with zero, and through education and through hard work, I've managed to create a pretty good business that allows me to do this work at night as a city council member. I think you need to have the time to be able to be a good city council member, and because I have the time, and because I've built a successful business that has been successful for 25 years, I'm now afforded the time to spend the time on the city, as well as on Metro and on the COG, but only because of the work that I've done in the past. There are many, many ways to make Whittier better, and I think I'm the candidate with ideas, as well as the candidate that can help create opportunities through legislation by having worked with the local governments, all 27 cities, which I was appointed to, and by the way, I was elected to the Metro by all 88 cities. And that you can look up as well. That's factual. Thank you.
We'll move on to questions from the audience. Just one moment. Just as a reminder, candidates, you have 1 minute to answer each question. Now we're going to begin with Ms. Aida Macedo for this one, and we'll go in order. What is the one issue you would leave completely unaddressed and why?
One issue, can you repeat it one more time?
Yes, and I'm reading a little bit of chicken scratch, so forgive me.
Yeah.
What is the one issue you would leave completely unaddressed and why? So what is the one issue that you don't feel needs to be changed, I think is what this person is asking, and why? What is the one issue you would leave completely unaddressed?
Okay, well, I'll just answer to the best of my ability. I think that there are a lot of issues in Whittier. Of course, if we all didn't care about Whittier and we didn't love Whittier and we didn't want to be here, we wouldn't be up here, right? I wouldn't be running for office. You wouldn't be listening to us. You wouldn't be staying up past our bedtime to be here. And so I think all issues are important. And I do think, I thank the council member for his service and the council for their service, but I do think we need change. And I think we need more action. We need to be more action-oriented, more forward-looking. That doesn't mean we abandon our culture and we abandon what makes really Whittier beautiful, which I think is a lot of our green space. The feel of the community is small town, right? If I wanted to live downtown LA, I would go there where there's development everywhere, car washes everywhere, massage parlors everywhere, right? I don't want that. I want my son to be here in Whittier. So I think all issues are important. I would work on prioritizing my top 3 issues.
Sure, so what's the one issue I wouldn't change? The city council. No, just kidding. No, you know what? It's an easy one for me. It's our budget. Think about it. We're one of maybe 5% of the cities in all of California, which is 486 cities, if I recall. Somebody will fact check me on that, but something like that. We're one of the top 5% cities in how we manage our budget, right? And we're that way because of not just of this city council, but previous city councils as well. I don't want to take 100% credit for that. I think previous city councils have done a pretty good job of budgeting for this city. And so because of that, I wouldn't change it. Look, Measure W was incredible for the city. You all voted for it. We all voted for that, right? And think about what it's created. Measure W has created an additional tax service that allows us to have a fully funded police department. It allows us to expand parks. We're expanding Anaconda Park, by the way, which we negotiated the purchase of that. I enjoyed doing that part of it. So no, I wouldn't change that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, so the one, item or topic that I would leave alone and unchanged would be the car washes. I personally am not happy that we're on our 6th car wash coming up on Whittier Boulevard, but in talking to so many of the residents as I've walked around and several of the business owners, a lot of them have made it very clear. They don't want government intervention. They don't want the government or the city council or the city telling them what they can and cannot open. So even though I personally don't necessarily like having all of them on Whittier Boulevard, I'd like to see them on other areas such as Lambert or Slauson or Mulberry, forgive me. The residents have made it very clear to me that that's something they would like to be left alone and let the free market handle itself. Thank you.
Now moving on to our second audience-generated questions. And for this one, we are going to start with Fernando Dutra. Now, many candidates seem to attach themselves to a specific cause, but how would you address infrastructure for homeowners, streets, water, and electricity?
Well, that's what I do for a living, is I build streets. And so that's an easy answer for me. I would say that it's important that our homeowners maintain their properties, that they also watch over how their sewer systems are working and how their water systems are working. Contact local water department if you see a problem with the water meter's leaking or something of that nature. But each individual, each one of us can take responsibility for maintaining our own infrastructure by watching it, by making sure that it's in line with what the standards should be. If you see a pothole, call the city, we'll fill it. If you see a water leaking, call the city, we'll stop the water leak from leaking. If you see a sewer system that's not flowing well, call the city, we'll come out and we'll clean out your drains, to the extent that they're within the street, of course. But if you have sewer issues within your house, it's important to fix it before it becomes a big problem. So I think it's incumbent upon all of us to maintain our own properties, therefore making our streets better as well.
Thank you. Mr. Longoria.
Can you repeat the question, please?
Sure. Many candidates seem to attach themselves to a specific cause, but how would you address infrastructure for homeowners, such as streets, water, and electricity?
The biggest thing that I would say, especially as a homeowner here in Whittier, is it's time to question everything. I think we need to go back and look at all of our bills. I know that in the past, I've had to call the water department. Over the years, I have a swimming pool in the back, and it's got an autofill system. But sometimes the bills are very, very erratic. I've had to call out and request them to come look at the meters a second time. I think that homeowners should go back and audit their electric bill and ask the questions of, we have these smart meters now. And again, I believe in technology, but the gas company, the electric company, nobody comes to the house anymore. We're supposed to just trust that it's all in the air. And I'm all for trust, but I think we need to verify. So I would encourage everyone out there to go back and take a second look at everything that's arriving to their home and what you're paying for. Thank you.
Ms. Macedo.
Yes, while talking to many residents, especially folks that are aging, I noticed that a lot of folks cannot afford renovations in their home. They cannot afford repairs, let alone any increases in any utility bills. I think that as leaders of city council, we need to be active at PUC hearings. We need to be talking to our different utility companies to make sure they're not raising rates on folks, because a lot of folks cannot afford that. Property taxes, of course, have been going up, and I'll tell you, the aging population can't afford a lot of repairs, but neither can millennials. It's expensive. Everything has gotten more expensive, and so I do think the city needs to be more proactive and not assume that everybody can afford utility bills, can afford infrastructure repairs. I talked to a resident the other day who said, I can't fix anything in my house. And so we need to be creative with some of those solutions to help our residents. Thank you.
Remarks this evening. And again, you have 1 minute for those closing remarks. We will start with Mr. Longoria.
Thank you. So in closing, my name is Felipe Longoria. I'm running for District 4, and I want your vote. When I win, I will work every single day for all of Whittier, listening, showing up, and doing the hard work to make our city safer, stronger, and more connected. But before I step away tonight, I want to acknowledge everyone who got up here on this stage. It takes courage to put your name on a ballot. In today's world, that means opening yourself up to criticism, second-guessing, and online attacks. Regardless of whether we agree or disagree, I respect anyone willing to serve. Public service is not easy, and it deserves dignity and decorum. I do believe it's time for a change. But change comes with respect. I would like to thank the City Council for everything they've done up to this point. I'd also like to recognize Joe Vinatieri. He makes a good-looking Edward Scissorhands. Okay, my name is Phil Longoria. I'm running for District 4. One community, one voice. Thank you. Get home safely.
Ms. Aida Macedo.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you to the Chamber for being here, for your leadership on this. And I just want to say that elections are about trust. You need to be able to trust your leaders. There needs to be transparency in communication. I strongly believe the way that I am running my campaign, I will run my office as a council member, which means bringing residents into City Hall, doing roundtables, keeping you informed, having transparency over our budget. Our budget right now is over budget. You can go on the website and look at it. The projections are over, not by a lot, but it's still over. And I think we need to have more education. What does a budget look like? What does it do? You know, they say that a budget reflects the values of a city. I think a lot of residents have been left in the dark about what happens with our money. We need accountability. We need to look at contracts. We need to look at the bids that are coming in for contracts. And I will be that voice for residents. I am not here to represent special interests. I'm here to represent you, and I ask for your vote. Thank you.
Waiting, but she's got a lot of applause. She takes full advantage of it.
Absolutely.
So I raised my family in Whittier because we fell in love with the city, its culture, its community, and of course, safe streets. As a councilman, I have made every decision with that in mind. Whittier is the gold standard in surrounding cities, which is why we all live here, when it comes to our economy, our public safety, and of course, our city programs. We have an amazing Parks and Recs team here. This is still a place where work can, but there's still a lot of work to be done. I recognize that, but I think I'm the guy to get it done. I have the experience, the regional respect from local leaders, as well as the understanding to lead Whittier to a brighter future. I think that this is not the job where you want people with large learning curves. I think you want people with experience on here, and I think I have the experience, and I hope I can get your vote. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Let's actually give a round of applause for all of our candidates tonight. Thank you guys all for sticking in there. This actually officially concludes the candidates forum for the evening. So thank you again for